Today we're going to talk about the scam that's going around out there on Instagram regarding the luxury resale industry and how you can protect yourself from it. So if you guys are new here, my name's Katherine. I worked in the luxury resale industry selling and buying designer handbags for close to 10 years. If you like shopping tips, if you like stuff about authentication, then I think you're going to have fun here. Please hit the subscribe button as well as find me on some of the other social platforms. I'll leave them all linked down below. So typically when I'm talking about scams, especially out there on social media, we're usually referring to counterfeit sellers. I have a video from a couple of years ago where I talk about how to know a bag is fake, and I also am running an authentication service where I can have a look at your items of anything that you're questioning. But today we're actually talking about just a full-on scam. So as mentioned earlier, there are a ton of completely legitimate sellers that do most of their business on Instagram and on social media sites. As a matter of fact, some of you may have found me through one of those. A lot of these sellers use places like Instagram as their main selling platform. They use it kind of as like their customer service portal, and they do a lot of business just through messaging them directly. Now, while that is it's a very fast way to conduct business, it isn't necessarily the most secure. Selling through these type of platforms opens you and your customers up to being impersonated, and that's kind of what's going on right now. So first of all, what they're doing is a variant or something that's really close in spelling to the actual account name, like a G might be a Q, or they might add an extra letter or something that you may not see inside of the account handle. Then they're using their screen recording feature as well as screenshotting to steal the content and repost it as their own. I don't have any indication that the product that they're impersonating actually exists. I think they're just kind of like scamming people out of the money and not sending anything at all. And let's say, for example, they see that you have commented on one of the actual seller's accounts. They may reach out to you and offer the item for a lower price. And a lot of the time it's a price that's like too good to be true. For example, last year there was a Chanel 22 bag that sold immediately because it was like really hot and highly sought after. Those bags at the time were selling for like close to $6,000. This scam account messaged someone that was completely unsuspecting and offered it for $1,800. Now, of course, we need everyone to remember, if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is, especially on the internet, especially with strangers. So one thing I can suggest is always make sure that the business you are dealing with takes more, in my eyes, legitimate forms of payment. This is for your protection, this is for their protection, like basically any of your credit cards, your Visa, your MasterCard. So by accepting these more legitimate forms of payment, that means that this business actually has to like deal with credit card processing, and there's like a level of accountability on the back end that if you are running a business that you have to like agree to. Yeah, if you get too many chargebacks or if you're flagged too often, then the business runs the risk of losing their status and losing their ability to accept the payment methods. So that's something that I like. I feel a lot safer when they do take the major credit cards, and you should too. Now, of course, the reason that the scammers do use these types of payment methods is because they are like non-refundable, basically. Once you send money out that way, the money is gone. There's no returns, there's no chargebacks, there's nothing like that. That's part of the reason that some of the legitimate sellers are using this as well. Credibility and legitimacy are the backbone of the entire resale industry, and you should be a little bit skeeved out if the business that you're trying to deal with trying to get around any like consumer protection. So a lot of the time how they find their potential victims is through their interactions with the legitimate business. So I do have to say that while I did engage with selling directly on social media, personally, I am not the biggest fan of it, if I'm being completely honest. Basically, interacting and engaging with the content of resellers, especially if it's like directly going to purchase, it's very public. Whatever you post on Instagram is attached to whatever it is that you're saying with this business, and it's putting your name and face, possible like location, and you're basically conducting all of these transactions like right in front of the world to see. It does open you up, and I think that it should be thought of as more of a privacy concern than it currently is. I think that's something to think about. So these are like interactions on like live streams, comments under the content of the legitimate sellers, but that is how they're getting your information. But they are watching like what you like. They are watching like what you comment on. They are watching like any repetitive comments on live streams and things like that. So I do want to caution everyone to remember that when you are engaging in social media, you are acting in public. You never know who's watching. Now, obviously, yes, I'm a content creator myself. Yes, engage with the content, comment under it, say how much you love the bag. But if I were really serious about purchasing something that I saw through a social media post, I would maybe say, hey, I love that bag in the comments. But when it comes down to like brass tacks and like asking about pricing and things like that, I would maybe push that to a private message. So one thing we also did see that these scammers would do is that they would not allow or not offer the option to see photos of the item until after you've paid. Like, that doesn't make sense. Now, any legitimate business that has the item in their possession is going to send you the photos. Now, of course, again, I did work in a very highly paced environment and it's not going to necessarily be instantaneous, but you should fully expect to be able to see pictures of the thing that you're trying to buy before you give them the money for it. Like, oh, now how do you protect yourself if you want to shop through Instagram? First and foremost, remember to use secured payment methods. Use credit cards, use PayPal. They have consumer protection. So if anything were to go wrong, if you don't receive the item, if it's not as described, there is an out, and all of these businesses collectively make agreements to be as legitimate as possible when accepting credit cards. So in order to play this game, in order to swim in this water, in order to actually get the money from people, they have to agree to represent their items properly and basically like not be scammers. And any business, in my opinion, that's not willing to participate in that, red flag. Now, of course, there are totally some legitimate businesses that do exist that you're able to save a little bit, or they will, not take them. There is a reason for that, and that is basically like PayPal will hold the funds especially if you're just getting started in the industry. But once again, if you're going to be a business owner, then that is something that you have to deal with, and I don't know what to say other than that. Now, while there are many resellers, especially like post-pandemic, a lot of new people got into this industry. It is a community, and they do follow each other mutually. Go in to the account that has messaged you or the one that you're interacting with and see who follows them. Do you have any mutual followers and mutual people that also follow this account? Now, if you have friends that are also into designer handbags, unfortunately not all of us do. Maybe they follow them as well. Do other resellers follow this account? You absolutely should be seeing that, but you should recognize names. It shouldn't all just be bots. Okay, so when you receive photos from from whoever it is that's messaging you, I want to say that the counterfeiters especially, and the scammers, like, they will have photos and they kind of have like a similar like feel and style to them. A lot of the time they use like these like similar backdrops, and that's just something that with practice you kind of just have to have a nose for. And I'm not expecting everyone watching this video to necessarily be able to just like get that, but like once you see it a lot, then you begin to know. Yeah, so I've been doing this for a very, very long time, and I am operating my own authentication service. Happy to have a look at anything. Just email me to the email listed here on screen if you have any further questions. And of course, shopping through live streams is great. It's a really fun and interactive way to be able to ask questions and see the item like a human being interact with it in real time. However, I personally am more comfortable with the types of sites that do live streaming either directly from their own website or domain.
This one is an example of me from a few years ago. Viewers got to have access to the entire inventory, along with all of the corresponding information, pictures, and prices. I was there live with the physical product in hand and able to answer any questions. And the best part, checkout was completely secure and you were able to shop with complete privacy. These are the ones that I recommend.
And the number one question you absolutely should be asking is, do you charge sales tax? The reason we're asking about sales tax, not because we want to pay more, not because we love paying sales tax, it's because any legitimate business, they have to charge taxes within their state. So their answer should be something to the effect of, we charge sales tax to X list of states. Basically, any state that they don't have like a physical location is one where the sales tax will be waived. If your answer is anything other than that, you're either dealing with a private seller that's not operating as a business, or it's a scam. So unfortunately, this is something that has been very common in 2022 and 23, and it's definitely something to look out for. Now, of course, like if you want less drama, less headaches, like I recommend just shopping directly on websites, directly on the retailer's website. And I think social media should be like another avenue of like maybe getting in contact. But as far as using it as an entire sales portal, while it is like more direct, I think that it can be a little bit too direct. And as you can see, it is very easy to get impersonated and confuse your potential customers. Have you heard of this scam? Has anyone ever contacted you? I'd love to hear any of your stories or thoughts. If you like videos like this, be sure to hit the subscribe button, and I will see you guys in my next one. Bye!